Hello, everybody. How's everybody tonight? Hello, everybody. How's everybody tonight? No, I did not actually say that twice, but don't worry. All right, folks, we are going to get started here in a couple minutes. Please enter your name and your where you are calling from, and let's have some fun. We got 1 minute, 1.5 minutes left. Enter the name of your dog. We're going to pick a best dog name. Come on, everyone, do it. I'm going to do mine. All right. Some great names there. What are your dogs? Or your cat. Doesn't have to be a dog. Come on. Or your ferret. Yes, we've done ferrets and rabbits, Lemonissel and whole Ocean. I like that, Carol. Stinker. There we go, Joyce. Steven. You named your dog Steven? No, sorry. Be gone. Right on. All right, guys, we are getting started here with the pet relocation or biannual pet relocation. We do this twice a year because things change and they change fast and without notice. I was telling somebody today online who had some questions. They say, well, I'm getting conflicting information, or someone told me this is the way we do it. I already know it because I phoned the airline and they told me this. Well, if you received information from number one, Panama's embassy site, number two, U.S. embassy site, number three, you phoned an airline, and number four, you looked on Facebook or an old article, I can guarantee you have some wrong information because it does change quite often. Now, we have been doing, when I say we, it's actually me. I've been doing pet relocation for 5 years now. We're doing like one a week right now, sometimes two. And from all over North America. We specialize in North America to Panama. So I'm sorry if you're from Europe or Australia. We can't really assist you. We can guide you with some recommendations, but we don't know the procedures of all the countries in the world. If sometimes we've had guests on our tours that are from some of these countries, and yeah, then I dive into it. So I have done it from Great Britain, and we'll be doing it shortly from Germany. So I guess I have to learn because those are our two guests. So, but Canada and US definitely we can help you guys out with. And I want to get into, for those of you, crowd's getting big here. So this is Halloween night. I know, and some a lot of people said, "Why is it on Halloween?" But we record all of our events, and they're on our YouTube channel. Just look up Retired Panama Tour YouTube channel, and you will see all the live events we've ever had. And so this one will be available as soon as we're done here because it's streaming live right now on YouTube. It's streaming live on Facebook, on multiple pages. So it is around. But for those of you who don't know, please go to our YouTube channel. If you hit the subscribe button, you will get notified every time we have a live coming up and every time we post a new video. So that's always nice to know. So for those of you guys who don't know who we actually are, I know I say we. If this is your first time on our event, then there is three of us. We are Retiring Panama Tours, and myself, Rod Larrabee, and Oscar Pena is my business partner, and Megan is our director of operations. Now, Oscar's been in Panama 15, going on 16 years. I've just reached 13 years. Megan's been here, I believe it's 7 now. And we have a combined 30 years experience helping people move to this country. Now, we offer both 7-day tours, the entire country, touching all the different locations throughout the country that an expat might want to live in. We offer 3-day tours for those of you who aren't interested in city and beach and are looking for the Cherokee Highlands, typically, Boquete, Volcan, and everything in between. We offer a 3-day tour of that, and we offer private tours. So, and for those of you who absolutely, I can't believe, but sometimes there are people that don't know us. That's Oscar. That's me. And none of you have seen this right now. Thank you for that. That's Oscar. That's me. That's Megan. Our tours are, like I said, 7-day cross country, small group. We have small group tours. We don't do the big buses. Our tours are somewhere between 8 and 14 people, maybe 15. We had our October tour was 8, and our November tour in 2 weeks is 13. Our Cherokee Highlands tour, we just finished one this week, and we only do them 4 times a year. But that one is we had 10. And we are sold out totally for the next one, which is in February. But we do have April. We have 4 spots available in April. I think it's 4. Yeah, we have 4 spots available in April and 6 spots available in August. For our regular 7-day tours, they also sell out fast. So you got to book advance. Your next available would be in March. We have 4 spots in March and April. Mm-hmm. So, in addition to the tours, obviously, as we just talked about, we do pet relocation. We not only do pet relocation, Oscar on Oscar's side, Oscar does car purchasing here in Panama. So if you're interested in you're moving here and you want a car, either waiting for you when you get here or once you're here, Oscar has a great program. He has purchased literally 7 figures of cars in the last couple of years. And he has all the dealerships tied up in Panama City that, let's say someone says, I want a 2018 RAV4 Blue. And so he'll put that out to his dealers and they'll all bid against each other and try to get the best price. And he flies to Panama City. He finds the top 3, takes them out, sends pictures, does videos, and selects and buys a car for you. So that's something, I know you came here to talk about pet relocation. I'm talking about cars. I'm telling you what we're doing. So we're going to get right into the presentation. I'm going to do a presentation. I have a slide screen, and then that'll be like 15 minutes tops. And then we're going to go into a full Q&A, okay? That you guys can ask me anything about pet relocation. Honestly, guys, you can, like, I've written this out. This is not a sales pitch thing here, although I will tell you at the end that we have a service that can help you do this because it's not complicated, but there are a lot of pieces to the puzzle to bring your pets here. And so I am laying this out in a complete slideshow, which is available to any of you. If you want a copy of it, it gives all the steps. All you got to do is go to this link that I'm putting in right now, the contact page, and send us an email stating that you would like a copy of the pitch deck that we used tonight. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch this to what we call Q&A mode, meaning we're going to keep the chat now for questions. I'm not going to answer them right away, but if you you don't want to lose your thought and forget your question, so you can type your question in the chat, and once we get around to that section, I will answer all those questions. That being said, we say hi to our people on YouTube and Facebook. You can also type questions by using the comment section of Facebook or YouTube. Or if you want to come right over to our StreamYard back office here, there's a link in the description in both YouTube and Facebook. Okay, we are going to begin. Pet relocation. We're going to go through the steps, okay? What you need to do, okay? Very important step. And what happens? Let me tell you what happens if you get all this stuff wrong. You arrive in Panama, and your dog is missing its leptospiracy vaccine. And don't laugh at me when I say the vaccine names because they're very difficult. At least I find them. He doesn't have it. Guess what? Your dog's not coming into the country. You've got two choices. You have a choice to return with your dog. You have a choice, or you have a choice to put the dog in a 40-day government quarantine where they will give him the vaccine. Now, why it's so important? There's two vaccines that are required minimum 30 days before you get here. One is your rabies. Now, if your dog's if you have a rabies certificate that shows he's good till whenever, like after you get here, you're good to go. You don't have to do it again. But you need a rabies certificate showing that your dog is either covered under rabies or his rabies shot was more than 30 days before your arrival. And he's fully vaccinated for leptospirosis, which is a 2-part vaccine the first time you do it. And Canadians, please make aware here that it is very common in Canada for vets not to give this vaccine because it's not an issue in Canada whatsoever. Even in the U.S., we're finding some vets don't recommend it because they just say it's not needed. Well, in Latin America, it's quite common. So that's why they will not let your dog in without it. And since it's a 2-part vaccine, it has to be done like 21 days apart. So you need to make sure he is fully vaccinated with both shots for the lepto. Now, the paperwork for traveling with your pets is same on a commercial plane in the cabin, same as in the cargo, same as for a full service pet relocation company, and the same for a private charter. So the paperwork is the same for everything, and we're going to go through that paperwork shortly. But what you have to plan a good 30 days out is what airline you're going to use to get your dog here, especially if it's in cargo, okay? Like, how are you going to plan that? You don't want your dog to spend multiple days in a cargo hold. And I know this is difficult for anyone who doesn't live near one of the locations we're going to go to in the next slide, I believe it is, of where your pet can fly in cargo. There's not many. There's only like 7 in North America cities where your dog can fly in cargo. And so if you're going to fly him in cargo domestically, plan to make sure you have an overnight or so to get them out so they can relax and, calm down from that little stressful day before you get them. Like, you can't transfer a dog between flights like people do with the layover. So that's just not going to happen. So you really got to plan that flight. Okay. Small pet, soft carrier under 20 pounds. Great. It goes on the plane with you. You don't have to worry about layovers because he's in the airport. He's just, you got the bathroom issues if you got a ridiculous flight, like I know some of you Canadians on the West Coast or even from Seattle. So sometimes it's still better to fly to a city overnight, and um, yeah, and then off the next day. So the other thing to remember too, when you're booking your flight, if your dog's in cabin, you want to book that as far in advance as you can, as you know everything, because you have to find a flight that you, especially between, I'm going to say December and April. That's high season in Panama. Lots of people come here, and a lot of people are bringing their dogs. They only allow so many dogs in cabin. So, like for some airlines, that number is five. Sometimes it's seven. And so you might say, "Hey, I want to go on December 5th." Well, that date might not be available. You might have to select the 4th or the 9th or something. So make sure you plan ahead with your flight. If you're in cargo, don't worry about it. Book your flight because you can't even start even thinking about the cargo until 10 days before. But I will go. Okay, right now, direct these places offer direct flights to Panama, which is so great for the dog. And I'm going to tell you guys up front here, even if some of you become my client, your dog, you may have paid me, but your dog is number one. And I might say something to you that you might think is rude. I'm sorry. My job is to get the dog here safely and to get the dog here not stressed out and freaked out and having to, deal with the issues of something it's never done before. So I always stress to people get the most direct flight here as possible, whether it's in the cabin or in the obviously the cargo. Now the ones in bold are the only cities currently flying dogs in cargo out of North America. And I'm going to say right now, there's a couple of them that are, I know Miami, Orlando, New York, Los Angeles are always, yes, and Toronto. They are flying dogs in cargo. Now, sometimes Tampa is, sometimes Las Vegas is, and sometimes San Francisco is. Now, that's a matter of you getting a hold of the cargo department of that airline and finding out. But Austin was a great addition in Copa Airlines to Texas, but they're not yet flying dogs. Same as Chicago and Denver. Great additions to Copa's airline recent flights, but they're still not flying dogs in cargo. So it's a big thing. Copa takes it seriously. That's why I like the airline with dogs. Right now, United stopped flying dogs in cargo, and so did Delta. But I wouldn't even suggest to any of my clients to use them. They weren't good at handling dogs in cargo. And that's probably why they don't take it. I don't know if they got sued or whatever, but who knows? So for you folks that don't live in one of these cities, you got to get there, obviously. Mm-hmm. So there are in the U.S. some companies that transport dogs via ground. So they come to your house, they pick up your dog, and they drive across the country with it. If you don't want to, then you fly to that location, meet up with your dog, hang out for a day, and then take the flight. So that's an option for you. But for many people, like the people in Texas, I tell them, okay, guess you're driving to Orlando. That I believe that's 14 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong. One way rental. You're driving with your dog, and road trip. So most dogs would love you for that. Lots of bonding time. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next steps. Book your flight. There we go. It's really important to book a flexible, fair flight, especially if you're flying your dog in cargo. Just in case something happens when we're traveling in summer, you can get a heat index problem. That at a certain level in the States, they will no longer fly dogs in cargo. They ban it for a few days when it gets above 104. They all have different magic numbers. So if you have a flexible fare, you can just change your flight to when the heat index is over. So red eye flights are great to take if you have your dog in cargo, because then you know the heat index really won't affect it. The heat index is typically for daytime flights. So that's great. Out of New York, out of LA, they all have nighttime flights. So that's a great option for you. So we just talked about that, renting a car, using a ground transportation company. But if you do have to take your dog in cargo, like let's say you're in Vancouver, you can fly with your dog in cargo on Air Panama to Toronto and then stay overnight. And sometimes you're going to have to stay 2 nights because when you're flying with a dog in cargo, you have to check the dog in the day before. You don't have to leave it there, but they want you there so they can measure the crate, so they can verify the dog is healthy and height, and that's usually when you pay for your dog in cargo. Okay. Preparing paperwork. There is actually only 3 main pieces of paperwork. 3 very important pieces of paperwork that you have to land here in. And this, folks, is a change. Part of this is a change starting like last week. Okay. It's always been you need the veterinary health certificate, which has been endorsed by the USDA or CFIA in Canada, and the home quarantine form. But they are insisting now on seeing the actual official signed rabies certificate. Rabies is a problem in South America. Panama has not had rabies in, we haven't had a case. I believe the doctor told me it was 2001 was the last time they've seen a case here. So they virtually eradicated rabies from the country. They're trying to keep it that way, and they're asking for people to bring the rabies certificate. You don't need to bring all the other vaccination information, but you need it for yourself to help your vet prepare the international health certificate. Okay. So I should show you guys this. I'm going to open this. I didn't do this in the forum, but give me a second here, folks. I'm going to open up an international health certificate here, just so you can see what it looks like. And nope, I can't. I turned off my Google Drive. Anyways, but okay. So that's steps 4, 5, 6. There's only 13, guys. In addition to the rabies vaccine, the dogs need to be vaccinated against distemper, hepatitis, parvovirus, and the lepto. Now, don't think that you're going to have to sit there and give your dog 4 needles. No, the distemper, hepatitis, and parvovirus is part of the DHPP vaccine. Most vets give their dogs on an annual or 3-year basis. There's 2 types, one annual and one basis. So there's actually 3 shots. There is a rabies, there is a lepto, and there is the DHPP. Cats need to be vaccinated against, I'm not even going to try to say that. You can read it. The rhino, the calcivirus, and the panleukopenia virus. There are no exceptions whatsoever to the vaccines. I know some people, I had a guest wanted to move to Panama with a dog that had a serious reaction to 2 earlier vaccines, and his vet was advising them not to get vaccines. So they tried to write a letter to the Panama authorities, but no, it doesn't matter. There's no exceptions to the rule. Now, the veterinary health certificate. Let's first talk about the U.S. The U.S. one, this is mostly digital, guys. Keep it digital. If your vet doesn't file electronically with the USDA, let's find another vet for that procedure. Get all your vaccines and have your regular vet check your doggy, make sure it's okay, get it dewormed, all those things that you want before you go away. But let's find a vet that files electronically with the USDA. Because number one, what that's going to mean is they have the most current form. We've had forms rejected because people have used old forms, and then they get rejected by the USDA, and then there's not enough time to get authentication. So, yeah, but it's all done on a computer. It's called the VECS system that the vets have it in their office. They fill it out digitally. They sign it digitally. They hit a button. It goes to the USDA, and it comes back 2 days later with a USDA digital signature on it. That is the most efficient way to do it. Now, in Canada, you can get from me, if you don't know, if you have a current one, they do some stuff electronically, but it's mostly just by email. But they typically handwrite their um, health certificates. Then they go to the CFIA, and don't laugh, U.S. people. That's the Canadian Food and Drug Administration. I have no idea why they deal with dogs. It used to be Agriculture Canada, but now it's the Food and Drug. And so you need to make this appointment to see the USDA or CFIA vet 10 days before your flight, no later. It can be 9 or 10. Now, if you have a change of flight, they're quite flexible here in Panama, that especially if it was because of the airline or cargo, they will let you on. But you don't want to just make it 11 or 12 days because, number one, the cargo guys are going to strongly refuse you and say you can't go because it's a cargo rule that the USDA and CFIA health certificates have to be dated by those organizations that within 10 days of your flight or your vet, because there's a date that goes on the top. And in cabin, technically, you should be allowed to 30 days because the form is good for 30 days in Panama. But we've had nothing but problem with staff, counter staff that don't know the rules, and they're denying people boarding. And by the time the argument is done, you've already missed your flight. And so just follow the 10-day rule. It's all easy to get done within 10 days. So don't try to get it done within 30 days and show up at the plane, at the counter, and you have an agent that says, no, it's 10 days, because that's what the cargo people told me. I've heard many people. We get phone calls because, surprisingly, when you type in pet relocation to Panama from Canada or US, we have a #1 search result. So the people who never used us seem to think we can solve their problem at the last minute. So I've gotten phone calls from people at the counter being denied entry because they're not within the 10-day window. I've gotten phone calls from the Panama airport when people are taking their dog away into quarantine because they didn't do what they needed to do, or they didn't follow the holiday schedule. So, okay. So once you have your USDA health certificate done, 10-day appointment, 3 days later, you should have it back. Same as the CFIA. You'll have it back in your hands. You need to get that endorsed by a Panama consulate, or you need to get it apostilled in your state or province. The Panama vet people here, they prefer the consulate method. It's what they know. It's what they've done for 30 years. So I still like to use the consulate. The consulates are getting very flexible. Like LA consulate, if you live in the western half of US, you can email them the health certificate. It's digital anyways. They'll send you a link to pay the $30 fee plus a $18 FedEx envelope back to you. So it happens in 2 days. So it's very efficient. If you send it to Washington, D.C. consulate, which is the head office in Washington, and write traveling with pet on the envelope, they also will turn it around virtually same day. It'll go back, like you send it with the return envelope back to you all next day. They'll receive it, they'll open it, they'll do their authentication, they put it in the envelope, it goes back in the FedEx box, and you'll get it back the next day. In Canada, both Vancouver and Toronto embassies are amazing. They both have different procedures in payment, but they will typically in the US, you can just drop a $30 US money order. You can do the same thing in Canada, but now Vancouver is no longer taking money orders. So you got to make a direct deposit into the Bank of Montreal. So that can be done online or through their, or just in a Bank of Montreal. But the consulate will give you that information once you contact them. And if we're doing the work for you, we also make that arrangement. So, okay, we're almost done. Let's back up to the 10th day for those people that are in cargo. On the day you're having the vet appointment, you're also going to be contacting the cargo. At this point, it's only Copa Cargo. Oh, I should say in Canada, it's Copa Cargo and Air Transat. So you have a choice in Canada out of Toronto. In the US, it's only Copa. You're going to be contacting Copa Cargo with your flight date, with a copy of the health certificate that's not endorsed yet, but they want to know that you've started the process with the paperwork, and booking your dog on that flight. A lot of people panic with this because, you know, their flight, they booked their flight a month ago, but their dog's not in cargo yet. In 5 years, I've never not had a dog on the same flight as the people. So they always get it done, even if you contact them 5 days before. That's typically how cargo works. They don't book a month in advance. So. Now, and yes, some more steps. Number 12, 3 to 5 days before your flight, you need to notify MINSA. MINSA is the health department, a whole bunch of Spanish words but zoonosis, MINSA zoonosis is the health animal department at the Panama City airport of your arrival and attacks your health certificate, your rabies certificate, and your home quarantine. You email your docs to the email address shown on the screen. You should get a reply in 24 hours. Typically, well, you should. A lot of times you don't. They're not that good at getting replying to the general public. If you don't, request it again. What this matters is it just means that if they get your stuff, they actually do print it out and they have a basket of incoming and they bring it out. Oh, this is incoming Monday. This is incoming Tuesday. So when you arrive there, oh, your paperwork's right here. Let's see the originals. And they're actually ready for you. So you will get served first. Because if you arrive at 2 in the afternoon in Panama City Airport, there could be 30 flights arriving between 2 and 3 o'clock. Pretty well all of them have flights. And there's probably 2 doctors on staff at that time of the day. So if you are pre-notified and your paperwork is in the little file thing, guess whose name gets called first? Yours. I've had people wait 3 hours who didn't pre-notify. It's almost like they penalize you for not doing it. On travel day, for you people with your pets in cabin, you take this paperwork, those 3 documents I said. The health certificate, it's been signed by the USDA, it's been authenticated by the consulate. The home quarantine does not need any signatures or authentication. And your rabies certificate. You arrive an extra hour early to your gate with your carrier and your dog. Now, the requirements are pretty simple. Your dog and carrier must weigh less than 20 pounds. And COPA, it's a little more lenient because theirs is 10 kilo, which is 22.2 pounds. But you can't be overweight. You just can't. Or they're going to say, nope, your dog has to go in cargo and you got to start the whole process again because your paperwork's going to be more than 10 days old and it's your fault. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they're going to take the original paperwork. If you fly in cargo now, you go to the cargo office 12 to 24 hours before. They're going to tell you when to come. They'll send you a link to where they're located. And they're going to take the original paperwork. you take the copies. They're going to put the original paperwork in one of those sticky paper things and attach it to the actual crate. Please make copies because I've had them lose that. And this is typically where you're going to pay them. They'll drop off, and then they'll tell you to come back 3 to 4 hours before your flight. Because you just don't want the dog in there forever. But honestly, folks, very seldom do we have pets in cargo and cats in cargo, but we do. I had a lady move down here from Toronto with 6 cats. She could only take 1 on the plane with her. Did she pick her favorite? I don't know. She probably never told the other cats, but the other 5 went in cargo. So cats do go in cargo also. And so there's no limit on how many pets you can take. So that's another thing that's always online, and that's false information. So then you'll drop your dog off 3 to 4 hours before the flight. Okay. That's that. Let's talk about cost. Now, like a lot of people ask me, what's this going to cost? Well, I'm going to give you the average in cabin, plus or minus $400, $1,000. Could be $600, could be $1,400. You know why? The biggest variable is the price of the vet visit for the health certificate. In New Hampshire, they're charging $1,200 for a health certificate. $1,200. Yet in Texas, you can still get it done for 450. So it just depends where you live. In Canada, I've seen in Canadian dollars 600 to 800. So these are US dollars I'm talking about. So your dog in cabin is going to be around $1,000. Could be 1,400. Could be 600 if you live in some more remote place that the vets are really cheap, because all the other fees besides the vet are pretty static. And this is me assuming all your vaccines are already up to date. So you're not getting any of those. So all it is a health certificate filled out. It's the authentication cost. It's the cost of the $150, $175 airline fee, and the $155 fee once you land here. Now in cargo, plus or minus $750 is going to be about $2,000. Now the cheapest in cargo crate is $350. That's if you have a 22-pound dog. The most expensive one is $1,150 US. And that's for a big dog, like 75, 80-pound dog. Maybe 90 if he's not that tall. So that's what he's going to cost you. So, Now, let's talk about problem pets. People told me to change my word. Special dogs and cats, okay? Some dogs and cats cannot go in cargo whatsoever. Here's a list of Copa's list. And the other airline, well, there is no other U.S. airline. In Canada, the Real Hackle airline, the Air Transat is almost identical. These are the dogs, no matter what, that cannot, they will not, and cats. I did not know when I started this thing that, there are some cats. It has to do with breathing issues and stuff like this, and lawsuits and things like that. So, and in addition to the animals that are banned, if your dog is over 33 inches high, standing on the floor, from the floor to the tip of its ears, it will not fit in the biggest crate allowed on a Boeing 737-800, which is your that's what they base their biggest crate on. So if your dog is taller than that, they won't take it. And that's what they physically do. When you check your dog in 24 hours before at cargo, they make the dog, you have to have the dog in the crate. They make the dog stand up in the crate. If the dog is touching the top, they will not accept it. Okay? So with special dogs and cat, what do? We got a couple options. Actually, 3. Number 1 would be a full service pet relocator. Okay? Now, this is somebody, they have 2 options. You can live, let's say, in Houston, Texas. You contacted them up. They will come to your house. They will pick up the dog in a vehicle, drive it to Miami, where their head offices are, get it on a FedEx-type plane. Could be UPS, FedEx, DHL, something. If it's a big dog, like bigger than the crates allowed, then they will build a crate for it. Okay? They fly it to Panama City. They're there to take it off of the FedEx plane, and they're there to take it to their pet hotel. And then the next day, they will again put it in a car and drive it to you anywhere within Panama. That's the full service. You can get a little more budget friendly if you agree to bring the dog to them in Miami and be at the airport when their plane arrives and picks it up and takes it. But full service pet relocators are not cheap. I just had someone do the quote. They were driving to Florida and they were going to pick it up, and it was almost $4,000. If they have to do that, you're looking at about $7,000 to $8,000, and that's from center U.S. From Canada, we had someone do it with a Mastiff from Calgary all the way here, and it was about $12,000. So, like you can imagine, they drove the dog from Calgary to Miami. That's 48 hours. Okay, so that is one of the options. Number two is something we do a lot of: private jet sharing. Why not? Let's treat yourself and your dog. Yes, you go on a private jet with your dogs. 6 8-seater jets is what we typically use, and we share them between 2 or 3 clients. Now, most of these jets go out at Miami because of the price. So we've had a few people want Houston. Well, it's going to be a lot more to fly out of Houston because it's an extra hour in the air. Most of these jets run around $8,000 to $10,000 per hour for return flight. So we also have the option of selling the flight on the way back, which sometimes works out too. If we have somebody returning to Canada, and then we can split it. I once split it 4 ways, and it was quite amazing. So everyone won. So I've gotten the price down cheaper than what a full service pet relocator could. Like $9,000. So, but you would have to drive your dog to somewhere in Florida, wherever the jet's going to be. Mm-hmm. So that is an option. Yes, it's a little pricey, but some people's dogs just can't go. We had 2 of our guests, both with special dogs. One of them had a pit bull. The other one had a high anxiety heart problem thing. But they just had a blast. They said, "Hey, we only do this once in our lives," so they spent $13,000 each. And they, at that time, if fuel prices continue to come, these prices will come down. So we are taking reservations for jet sharing in 2025. So use that contact number if you're interested. I'll get you on the list. You just got to tell us the month you want to come and how many of if there's 1 or 2 of you adults, and how many pets are there and how big they are. That way we can, determine how many, if we can get a 3 share or just a 2 share. Because if you are 2 couples with 4 big dogs, we can only share the jet with the 2 of you. But if there's 2 singles with their single dogs and 1 couple with a dog, yeah, we could share 3 times. So that is that. One more thing, then I'm going to get into answering all these questions. Yes, we do this. Panama Expat Service is a sister company of Retire in Panama. I was supposed to have this open on my screen. I can't believe I didn't. Now, we offer the service of complete pre-arrival planning and paperwork assistance for $350 for the first animal and $100 for each additional animal. And it's a $100 discount if you say you saw this Q&A. So if that's something you're interested in, we do have a form you can fill out. We insist on starting, like, we got to start like 60 days before, and we get on a phone consult to begin and go through the whole thing. Then we give you recommendations of where you should fly from, how we're going to go. And then we give you not just the tell you to phone cargo, we give you the cell phone number of the head of Copa Cargo. So we actually will, get you. I think I put the wrong link in. I am so sorry, guys. Pet relocation. Sorry, last link was kind of silly. There's a form on here that you can give us more details. So it would actually be $250 for the first pet, and then $100 for each additional pet. We fill out the paperwork, so you don't have to do any of that. We do the pre-notification. Our pre-notification, we get replies. And our once you're there, your vet will know that it's Rod from Retire in Panama or Rod from Panama Expat Service did the paperwork. And if there's any questions, they just call me directly. So yeah, so that is the pet relocation. Now I'm going to back up and go to the questions. But like I said, one more time, go to the contact us page, the link I put it up there if you want a copy of the slide deck. Okay, I got to get to where the question started. I'm in all these dog names. Okay. Does the leptovirus second dosage? No, no, it does not. The second dosage could be done at your 10-day appointment if you want. Why I say 30 days before? Because if your dog doesn't have rabies, well, let's check that. Let's start the leptos on that same appointment. Let's get it done. So the lepto has, it's like 3 weeks apart. So if you the first dosage was at 30 days and the last one at 7 days before, that would just be fine. Mm-hmm. Is there a difference between landing at PTY versus RIH with my dog? RIH, for those who don't know, is Real Hattel Airport. No, just as long as you notify the MINSA at the airport, same email address, but they have a spot on the home quarantine form that will tells you what airline and put a. I always tell people put a note landing in Rio Hato. They will know by the flight number because they ask for the airline and the flight number, and they will know, and they will send that paperwork over to Rio Hato. I didn't tell you guys. That's the only two airports that commercially you can land with a dog in Panama, but privately you can land in David. So, and it's a bit trickier. Like you will need some help with that. And if you select the private jet share option, I don't make money on jet shares. I put people together, but you must hire our company. The jet share people will tell you that too, because they are responsible as the airline for making sure all the paperwork is correct. So let's say we got 4 or 5 dogs on board. I prepare all the paperwork for everybody and provide the jet company and the ground crew and the MINSA with all the paperwork for it. So. Mm-hmm. Oops, same question. Sorry, there we go. Is there a difference procedure between permanent residency visit 3 to 6 months? Is there a difference in procedure? Your residency does not matter anything on pet relocation or on pets arriving here. Tourists can bring their pets here. But as you see with the paperwork, typically tourists don't bring their pets here. I have done some for celebrity status people flying in on their private jet, but they have an endless amount of money, so they don't care. But they can't leave their pet for one concert that they're appearing at. But besides that, no, if you're just a tourist coming down here to 3 to 6 months, you have to follow the same procedures as I just outlined, and you have to do it again next time you come. Hey, Kevin, does the pet need to be fixed? There's no requirement on pets being spayed or neutered. In Panama, there is no age limit, but if the pet is over 11 years old, the airline is going to make you sign a waiver. But there's no specific age limit. The only requirement are the vaccines that we talked about. Yeah, Dominic. Yeah, you need to do a procedure to go back to Canada, and if you're have a layover in the States, it's a big nightmare. We don't, like I mentioned before, we don't really do it the other way because we specialize it. But I can tell you it's a bit simpler, but there's still some additional tests you have to do. You got to see a vet. You don't need any authentications and stuff. You need a vet letter. You need an export permit, if you can believe it. So there are some things you will need to do here to leave. Mm-hmm. Okay. If the arriving flight is late, will MINSA vet wait until the pet to remain at only during MINSA hours? And this is so, I can't tell you guys how many people that have phoned me on a holiday or at 11 o'clock at night. The vet's not here and they're taking my dog away. What am I going to do? Well, you can't do anything about it. You have to follow the laws. And this is where there's so much wrong information out there. On the embassy's own site, it actually states, I think it is the U.S. Embassy for Panama, that vet hours are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. It's not true whatsoever. The vet hours are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, excluding Panamanian holidays. On Panamanian holidays and weekends or any other time, you must get prior written approval to bring your vet to bring your animal in, and you might have to pay a vet to be there. And there's no guarantee it will happen. On next week, on our Independence Day is on Sunday. The holiday's being celebrated on Sunday and Monday. I can guarantee you the vets are at the beach. Now, if your flight is delayed, that's why I'll like when I do this with people, I help them choose their flight. I don't want their flight arriving at 9:30 at night. I don't. Even though the vet promises to be there till 11, your flight has to land by 10. That's why I say between 8 and 10. If your flight lands at 6 in the morning, you're going to be waiting outside the office for the vet to show up at 8. But if your flight's at 9:30 and gets delayed 2 hours, they're going to collect the animal and take it to quarantine. You don't have a choice because our airport doesn't stay open all night, so you just can't stay there. And you're not allowed to leave the building. So, okay, bring on the questions. Did I miss some in here? I'm gonna go back to the beginning. I don't have any help from Megan, she's better with questions than I am. She can see the screen. What other questions do we have, folks? Don't forget, like I said, if you want a copy of the pitch deck to help you do this yourself, fill in this contact form. And just ask for a copy of the slideshow. They won't come till the morning, folks. I get too many emails at night. Get 50 people emailing, I want a copy. Hello, okay, lepto. Okay, I got that one. I'm just checking I didn't miss any. Yeah, outside. Yes, there is. Not until you get the dog through, but it's amazing. Dogs are so resilient, and very seldom have people told me that their dogs relieve themselves within the cage, even on 7 to 8 hour flights. They just don't like to do that. But immediately when you exit the airport, depending what door, so if you come out customs. Well, yeah, no, there's 2 terminals now. So depending what terminal you're at, there's grass. You just got to walk across the road and there's grass. Hopefully your driver will. Hey, Cynthia, how are you? Yeah. And if we arrange a driver for you, we have pet-friendly drivers. That's the first thing they do. They leave the car in the parking lot. They come get you, and they take you to the relief area for the dogs. They even have doggy bags to pick up. George asked, George must be late. Hey, let's all chastise George for being late. It's okay, George. I'm going to bring up the slide one more time for you, George. These are the banned breeds on all U.S. flights. Well, actually, I'm just going to say they're all U.S. and Canadian flights. There they are. I'll leave that up a second. Is lepto required for cats? No, I went through the cat requirements, Susan. Let's go through them one more time here. Did I miss it? It's right there. There. Oh, I missed it. Cats need to be vaccinated against rhinotriitis, cali calic virus, and panleucopenia. Penia. There we go. And rabies, of course. Can you apostle in Newfoundland? I don't know if Newfoundland has an apostle. I honestly don't think you need to, because the embassy in Toronto is so fast, like the consulate. Notarization is totally useless. Notarization is on a country level only. Apostle is on an international level. But most Panamanian, there's some Panamanian vets here that still don't know what an apostle looks like, because they want their consulate to authenticate it. So I always use the consulate. I've never once missed a date unless the FedEx screwed up and never returned it and got it lost. And then when I'm doing it, I just get an exemption from them, and I get an email from the consulate saying, yes, we authenticated this and we're all good. Alexis, yeah, like you need to clean up after your dog. In some areas, like parks and stuff, you can get fined for not cleaning up your dog. You need an airline approved freight. Yeah, airline approved crate. Okay, and those are mostly metal. They're metal gates and they're metal closures. The outside might be hard plastic, like the solid stuff could be hard plastic, but they are metal gates and metal closer, airline approved. Like they actually have a stamp, ATAA or something like that, airline approved. Great. Okay. Any restrictions on getting yeah, hey, great question, Sylvia. A lot of people do that when they're driving to their nearest airport. In Florida, you can stop in Tampa on your way, or you can take it to the Panama consulate in Miami. They any consulate in the country, I think there's 7 of them, will authenticate your health certificate. All you got to give 3-4 days ahead of time, set up a time where you're going to be driving by. But that's a great question, Sylvia. Thank you. No apostle in Newfoundland, Canada. Yeah, I'm not surprised yet. Apostle's so new in Canada, so I still do authentication, even with our lawyer and our immigration. We're still doing authentication. It's what Panama knows and used to. Same as in the States. It's just immigration. Things go faster when they see their own Panama stamp on and everything's in Spanish. Like even the stamp is in Spanish. The you get an apostle in the States. Everything written on it is in English, so it bothers them. Okay, we are right at the 8 o'clock. I think I actually got every question. Just all right, folks. I thank you for joining me tonight. Remember, let's take a look at this, guys. Don't leave yet. We have some interesting stuff coming up. I am going to share my screen. Sorry, present screen share. If you go to our website, retiringpanamatours.com, and you look at our calendar, if you click this little button here, subscribe. That does not mean we're going to get emails from you. What subscribe means is going to open your preferred calendar and put our dates on your calendar. See, I'm not signed in. I'm going to open one. So we don't get your email. We don't get your name. So this is retire. Next week, we're going to meet some expats throughout Panama, and that will be Oscar and Megan will be doing that. Then the week after, we're going to talk about other medical care, dental, eye, home care, stuff like that. And then we have our general Q&A. And then Canadians on U.S. Thanksgiving, us Canadians are meeting, and about everything about moving to Canada and being a Canadian. In December, we're going to talk about health services from doctors and VA services. We're going to hear from one of the very popular doctor here in Panama and some services offered to veterans here. And we're going to meet more expats than general Q&A. So we got lots of stuff, visa options, and Q&As are planned out. This is on the Q&A page. Just hit subscribe, and all those will be added to your Google, Apple, Office, Outlook, calendars, and then you will know what's coming up. You can set reminders to remind you. Anyhow. Oh, I see new questions, new comments. All right, folks. Oh, thanks much. Great show. Great. What if we drive from Canada to Miami? You could do that too. All you need to get across the U.S. border is your rabies certificate. So all you got to do is maybe get someone, since you're going to be driving, get someone to forward you the authenticated health certificate when the Vancouver office is done, or send them a FedEx envelope to where your hotel is going to be in Miami. They will just put it in there, and it'll be waiting for you once you get there. I've had several people do that, but you might want to try LA or Las Vegas. A lot shorter distance, and both will fly your pet and cargo. All right, guys. Everyone have a great night. Great having you guys here on Halloween. Hope you guys weren't ignoring the trick-or-treaters. They actually don't do that in Panama door to door. So it was funny. The first year I thought they did. They put candy out. Well, they eat candy at home. So I was eating chocolate bars for weeks. So I bought some really nice stuff too. The kids would have liked it. All right, guys. Everyone have a good night. And we'll see you next Thursday. And you guys will see Megan and Oscar next Thursday. Bye-bye.